Hawk is ready to go. Yes, he is. Okay, big fella, here we go. Miami restructured Tyreek Hill's contract. Here's the question. Is he the most valuable non-quarterback in the National Football League?
Absolutely. For a bunch of reasons. Not only is he the most valuable non-quarterback in the National Football League, he's a top 3 receiver all time in the NFL for a lot of reasons. Look, it's a new generation. The stats and numbers are what they are. But just looking from an eyeball test, he is like a receiver we've never seen. Because he's under 5'10", I know what the listing says, but I don't want to hear that. On top of that, he is a short ball runner. He can be gadget, screens. He is a deep threat like Randy Moss, and he's intermediate routes. He is instant offense for the Miami Dolphins and any offense he's a part of.
Kevin.
It's a good thing they paid him, because if not, he could have asked for a cut of Tua's contract and have a pretty good argument. He is the most efficient wide receiver maybe in the history of the game, if you look at on a per route basis. He's an absolute phenomenon. He deserves this money.
D. Wood, he scares defensive backs to death. And
yes,
right now,
he does.
Dominic Foxworth is shivering in his home just watching this video. D. Wood, I'm coming to you next on Jaden Daniels. Okay, so Washington's Jaden Daniels, the second pick in the draft, is going to play in the preseason opener against the Jets on Saturday. We have spent so much time on this show and others talking about Caleb Williams. Is the world sleeping on Jaden Daniels?
Yes. Yes, they are. I really, he was my number 1 quarterback, in the spring.
Yes.
My
and a lot of other people,
My
too.
number 1 quarterback. Washington has weapons, okay? There's no question about that. My only concern is the offensive line. But Jaden Daniels has shown you at LSU and at Arizona State, this man is a magician. This man is a dual threat guy. He is going to have a good year. Put me down for that one.
I was there last week. They're not going to baby him. That's important. They're going to push the ball down the field. They understand how much college ball he played, how many times he threw the ball. Not everybody in this draft threw a lot. J.J. McCarthy didn't. Even Caleb Williams, relative to some of the older guys, didn't throw a lot. Jaden Daniels played a lot of ball. They know that. They're going to have him do a lot, putting a lot on his plate early.
You pointed out Jaden Daniels threw a touchdown pass to Brandon Ayuk in college to beat Justin Herbert in a game. Think how long ago
he was playing college football pre-pandemic. Do you know how old you have to be? He's going to get. Listen, look at this.
That beats Oregon. The quarterback of Oregon was Justin Herbert, who's already on his second contract.
You got to be an elder millennial to have played this long ago. You probably. I mean, I was having back pain watching Jaden Daniels. I thought maybe Jaden does too. He's so old. He's probably excited about the Blink-182 tour. This is an old guy.
Is elder millennial an expression now? Is that a denomination that I'm not aware of?
I'm in a whole different generation.
That's correct.
Yeah, that
for me and Hembo. Me and Hembo.
D. Wood is a grandfather. I don't know how much he knows about this. All right, the last one here, and we save the most interesting for last. Kevin, it continues to be all quiet on the Dallas front. Is it fair to describe this offseason as a disaster for the Cowboys?
Absolutely. And it's every season they've got a Super Bowl foundation. They've got the quarterback. They've got CeeDee Lamb. They've got Micah Parsons. They've done nothing to add to it because of how they operate, and they did nothing to settle their business going forward. Complete disaster, and the Super Bowl window for this year is closed, in my opinion.
Okay, so let me play. I'm going to play some sound, and I'm going to read you some quotes. I'm going to start with Jerry Jones quotes. So the reporters are there, and they're asking him daily about all this stuff. And this is from our Todd Archer, who covers the Cowboys for us on his Twitter X. This is from Jerry Jones. Quote, I would say we're talking with Dak Prescott. I would not have a legitimate progress point there at all. And I really don't have one for Lamb either. I love how he emphasizes
Other than that, though.
And it's not negative. I'm just not thinking that it will do any good to talk about progress. So that's how he's handling it for the moment. Troy Aikman, meanwhile, I believe this was on McAfee, was talking about the uncertain future of the quarterback. Here's what he said.
I do believe he's going to be the first quarterback to 60 million. And
from Jerry or somewhere else?
Well, that's the question. And the longer this goes, the more I think he will be playing somewhere else. If it continues to drag on and he plays great, and then the Cowboys come in late to say, hey, now we want to pay you, I don't know where his head will be at that point.
So, I mean, that's the voice of someone who has lived it, who has been there, and who knows it. So 2 things. First, Troy, hit me up. I need those sunglasses. I need to know where you got them. Look Is it me, or are those extraordinary?
Wow. Oh, they were great.
Extraordinary.
They were great.
All right, so first off, Troy, hit me up. I need the sunglasses.
Amazing.
Second, do you agree with that if this gets to the season, because D-Wood, you were telling me earlier this morning, players don't like for the contract stuff to be happening in the season. The season's, what are we now, 4 weeks away?
Yeah.
If this thing gets to the season, it probably gets to next year, right?
If it gets to the season, I think Dak Prescott is gone. Gone. I think he's gone. Because what incentive does Dak have to do a contract right now? I don't, like me personally, I'm not even thinking about a contract right now. Every player wants to get to unrestricted free agency.
Yep.
Dak gets to unrestricted free agency, which he has every right. He has all the leverage. Dak is going to get paid an insane amount of money. And Dak has already said that, listen, I'm not here to help the Cowboys. I'm here to continue to push the quarterback market up.
Yeah.
So why would Dak sign a contract right now? It doesn't even make any sense at all.
Players, and especially quarterbacks, have fantasized for years about what happens if a true top 10 quarterback reaches the open market. Because it hasn't happened. Kirk Cousins was not a top 10 quarterback when he signed with the Minnesota Vikings the first time. We're in uncharted waters here as far as that goes. And now Dak knows that and the Cowboys know that. He's not going to take $55 million from the Cowboys. And by the way, if he reaches the true open market, he's not just going to move the market maybe $2 million, $3 million. It's not going to be that.
No.
It's going to be $8 million, $9 million. We're looking at the low 60s as the starting point.
And obviously, in a salary cap-driven league, they understand the importance of that. But at the end of the day, the fans want to know, is this team going to be any good? And I've had a lot of naysayers on here over the course of this offseason. How good do you think they're going to be, Hawk?
I think they could even be better than they were a season ago. You have Dak Prescott in this system for a second year now. He's in a contract year. I know we don't want to talk about the deals, but watching a player play his best in a contract year is not a coincidence. That's typically how it works. When you think about what they have on defense, now defense helps any quarterback. You have Diggs back on a defense that is already feared, and you pair him with Deron Bland. This team is still very, very good, and they have weapons. Yeah, they got to figure out the run game. Yeah, they got some questions on the offensive line, but things have been looking up. I think Dak Prescott comes out. He still plays at an MVP level. And to Kevin and Woody and your point, I think he breaks the bank to where the Deshaun Watson deal no longer looks like an outlier.
D. Wood, let's talk about the team. Cowboys won the division a year ago. Hugely disappointing postseason performance. That playoff performance, I think, enabled us to forget that they had a good season.
Yes.
Are they still going to have a good season?
I think they're a lesser team. I think they made the playoffs, but they're a lesser team than last year.
Because
I got questions on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Who's running the football? And most importantly, they have no number 2 wide receiver. Like, the disparity between CeeDee Lamb and their number 2, which was Jake Ferguson, the tight end, by the way, is astronomical. I think when you add all these things up and look at what's going on in the conference, Green Bay is going to be better. Okay? All these other, Detroit is going to be better.
Yep.
San Francisco is San Francisco. Philly is going to be better. All the teams in the conference are getting better. Have the Dallas Cowboys gotten better this offseason? I don't see it.
The biggest gap in football is not between team 32 to 10. It's team 10 to 5. That sort of range. Going from a team that makes the playoffs to winning in the playoffs is the biggest gap. The Cowboys can't do it. They are not equipped for that because maybe they're a little better than they were last year, but they are still not on the top tier with the Packers, with the Niners, with the Lions. They're not on that tier, and they've done nothing to get on that tier. That's the most disappointing thing to me. Every single year, it seems like they're okay with their lot in life, which is they draft well. Typically, they retain their guys. Apparently not this year. But typically, they just like to draft and develop. That's not how you win anymore. That has not been how you win since the Rams started just trading picks for stars 5-6 years ago. They do not play in the modern NFL. They play in the old NFL, and every January, we relearn that lesson.
Yeah, look, and Marcus has made that point repeatedly, that you cannot win in this day and age without supplementing your homegrown guys with guys from the outside, and you are right. They generally don't do it. All right, we'll keep an eye on all of that.